What is going on today, guys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my take for the top 5 best bosses in Elden Ring. If this is the third or fourth video of mine that you've come back to, if you don't mind dropping a like on the video and maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, it'd be greatly appreciated. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the first boss at number 5. Alright, coming into the number 5 spot, I'm going to go ahead and choose Prater Rykard. This boss always gives me the David versus Goliath feel. You can just take him down with his possible odds. I don't know if you guys have ever fought him without the Serpent Hunter Spear, but it is it's pretty hard. I mean, given, the Serpent Hunter Spear does turn him into a gimmick boss, but I mean, regardless of how trivial it makes the fight, I still enjoy fighting him every time. I always make a point in New Game Plus to get to Volcano Manor as soon as I can, just because the Godskin Noble's in there too. I really enjoy the Godskin fights as well, if you guys didn't know. But I like Rykard just because you get kind of the two fights in one. You get Eagle the Serpent, as you just saw there, and then you get him himself. And it actually is pretty tough, even with the Serpent Hunter Spear. I mean, just the ridiculous amount of damage this guy can do to you, and you always got to be on your toes, especially if he goes for his Hellfire attack, which, as we all know, can be pretty hard to deal with, and you can't really dodge it. If we're going to be going back in time in the DLC, like a lot of people are talking about, it'd be kind of cool to see him in his form before the Serpent devoured him. Maybe fight him in his, human or more humanish form, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. But yeah, that's going to take care of Prater Rykard at number 5. Let's go ahead and move into the number 4 spot. Alright, coming into the number 4 spot, I bet you guys all recognize this door. I'm not joking. We're going to be talking about the one and only Godskin Duo. And I know, a lot of people just cannot stand this boss, but I hate to admit, I'm a Godskin Duo enjoyer, and I'm going to tell you why. They have two completely separate movesets, and they're two, speed as far as attack-wise. I just feel like they work well together. Granted, you don't want to phase transition them both at the same time, obviously. You're going to want to head. I usually start with the Noble and focus him down first, because the Apostle, he just kind of stands around. I mean, if you can get them separated far enough, I'm not showing a good example of that in this fight so far, obviously. But I mean, realistically, you're just fighting them one-on-one. I mean, honestly, I have more problem fighting them in the Spirit Caller Cave when it's actually, one full fight, when they're not, sharing the health bars like they do in this fight. And I feel like this way around is really easy, especially once you get to this point when it's just, one-on-one here for a while. Because you can just, you can spawn kill them when they come back in, too, if you have the damage output. But like I've mentioned in the past, the Godskins will always hold a special place in my heart as far as, Elden Ring bosses go. The Godskin Apostle in Windmill Village was actually the first boss that I fought. And that was before I even installed the game, so I guess it was more of a practice than anything. And I've said it in the past too, as far as the music in this fight goes, it's absolutely incredible. I always have a good time listening to it. And as far as difficulty goes, I don't really ever have too many problems with these guys. I always say that Malekith just always gives me way more problems than these guys do. I mean, these guys, it's usually a first or second try. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and finish him up here. Going to roll forward. And that will take care of Godskin Duo at number 4. Let's go ahead and move into the number 3 spot. Alright, for the number 3 spot, we're going to be taking a look at the legend himself, the best demigod that ever lives, Scourge Radon. This fight never ceases to put a smile on my face, and no matter how many times I fight him, he always manages to body me at least once. You're going to see at the beginning of this fight, he does his 6-phase move here, and I get clipped by every single one, even though I know exactly what he's going to do. But yeah, I just absolutely love this fight. It's incredible. Learning to fight him by yourself without the summons honestly makes it a lot more enjoyable too. I know they're supposed to be part of the fight, but there's just something about learning his moveset and just being able to do it on your own that just makes it so satisfying. And obviously he gets that nice phase transition with the music too. And speaking of the music, absolutely incredible. It's definitely above most of the other soundtracks in the game. You're going to go into that phase transition there. So phase 1 of 3, if I remember correctly. But He's gonna go for the 6-part move again. This time I actually do manage to dodge it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Executioner Sword at him, and we're gonna bring us to our next topic about this boss, is his iconic meteorite attack that has killed most of us many times, especially on the original patch. I'm sure we all remember how just absolutely nuclear that was. But yeah, I still remember the first time I saw that attack. My jaw just dropped to the frickin' ground. It just absolutely incredible. And obviously the lore and everything behind Radon adds to just how much I like this boss. We're gonna go for one more throw here, and he's gonna go down. Always a pleasure, Mr. Radon. That's gonna wrap it up. Let's go on and move to the number 2 spot. Alright, coming into the number 2 spot, this is gonna be Radagon of the Golden Order. This guy right here, this is how you do a final boss. Everything you've learned throughout the game, you use in this fight. From the jumps in Godfrey's fight, or learning Margit's delayed swings, this guy has it all. When he has 2 different movesets as well, it just really keeps you on your toes. As you saw in the beginning of the fight, I gave him that really annoying parry thing that he does, and honestly, I still haven't learned it. It's the perfect balance of difficulty and just enjoyment at the same time. It's almost like you're just dancing with him. Like he's so moving, and he's always keeping you on your toes. He does have a few scripted attacks, but they're definitely few and far in between, especially when he's doing this parry moveset that I really never ever see. Because when I normally fight him, it's usually with a melee build or with my one-shot mage build. But it's just absolutely incredible. As we all know, the music in this fight too, it's just amazing. I never get tired of it. I mean, a lot of people don't like how they just took the title music and re-scripted it for Radagon, but I think it works perfectly. I'm definitely in the same boat as everyone else, where Radagon should have just been by himself, and Elden Beast should have just been like an optional boss, or a separate fight. In my opinion, what they should have done is Radagon goes down, and then maybe he just transitions back into America instead. I think that would really be cool. But obviously that's something, they could go ahead and explore in the DLC. And we gotta talk about the triple hammer slam attack here. Probably one of the most iconic attacks in the entire game, especially with just how much raw damage it can do and how hard it can be to dodge. And once you do learn how to dodge it, it just adds a whole nother level of engagement in this fight. Just makes it more enjoyable, in my opinion. Radagon also, to this day, is the only boss that I had to hollow out and actually spirit summon for, just how difficult he can be if you don't know his moveset. But anymore, I always just try my hard and run my head into him until he goes down. But yeah, that'll take care of Radagon at number 2. Let's go ahead and move into the number 1 spot. Now that right there is how you introduce a boss. Number 1 on my list is going to go to the true Giga Chad of Elden Ring, Godfrey, first Elden Lord. I don't even know where to begin with this guy. From his slams, from his axe throws, from just everything about this boss, I love every second of it. As you can tell from the intro, since I didn't do any voiceover, this track right here is by far my favorite in the entire game. There's something about it just fits the boss so perfectly. And I just like that Godfrey, he kind of takes everything you learned about dodging and just adds a whole nother level to it with incorporating your jumps more than you're actually dodging in this fight. It just makes it really satisfying once you actually gain full control of it and learn, what he's going to do when. And I think as far as a penultimate boss goes, they did an absolutely perfect job with this one. He just prepares you for the beating that you're about to take from Radagon, just as far as the damage output they can both do. And I just think it's a perfect lead up to the end of the game. I always enjoy Godfrey, so I think he firmly sits at the number 1 spot on this list, no problem whatsoever. Alright, you guys knew that we couldn't talk about Godfrey without, giving Horlu his honorable mention as well. I thought it was really cool the first time I saw him, just to finally see him show up in the game after we saw him in the intro cutscene. You're just kind of wondering, because you see all the other characters, but they wait until the very end to reveal that Godfrey and Horaloo are actually the same person. And yeah, I know if you delve into the lore, you can, you know, find out way sooner. But on the first playthrough of the game, you know, I was trying to do it as blindly as possible, you know, without YouTube and stuff. You know, I had to look stuff up. I know most of us did. But I think Horaloo here, he just takes Godfrey's fight and just, you know, it flips it on its head. You know, he's just so grabby and movie. I mean, as you can see right there, I made a terrible decision doing the sword throw and throwing it into him, and I mean, he just absolutely decimated my health. So I mean, you gotta be really careful for those grabs, but once you time them down perfectly, it honestly makes it really satisfying. Also, while we're here, I just want to go ahead and say if you guys made it this far in the video, I sincerely appreciate it. The amount of support lately has been absolutely overwhelming, and I never would have expected it, to be honest with you guys. Speaking of being honest, I already had this fight recorded once, and for whatever reason, the audio footage decided to get scuffed. It just sounded like there was crackling in the background, and I didn't want your guys' ears to die. So I went ahead and did a full New Game Plus playthrough just to re-record this footage. But anyways, that's going to wrap up my list there. As always, I appreciate you guys checking out the videos, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.